My twin sister's funeral. Justin sat by her grave for 3 days and 3 nights without moving, refusing food, refusing water, refusing life itself. People in the village sighed deeply, saying what a heartbreaking love story it was, how cruel fate had been to him. Even my own mother asked me why I couldn't be more understanding, why I had to take Justin away from my sister. As if everyone had conveniently forgotten one fact. Justin had been my husband for 32 years. At midnight, numb and hollow, I stumbled across the main road. The headlights of a truck roared toward me. I could have dodged it, but I didn't want to dodge anymore. Justin did. He threw himself forward, shoved me out of the way, and collapsed into a spreading pool of blood. With his last breath, he gripped my hand and begged, "If there's a next life, return me to your sister, cleanly." Cleanly? The word tore something inside me. I laughed, broken, hysterical, until the world turned black. When I opened my eyes again, it was winter, 1977, the moment when everything in my life first went wrong. "Diana, are you really not going to be with Justin? Besides your sister, he's one of only 2 young men in the entire village who passed the college entrance exam. He's the best we have." Diana clung to our mother's arm and whined sweetly, "Mom, I'm going to study in the city. Of course I can find a better man there. Why should I cling to Justin, a country boy?" Mother's expressions softened. Seeing that, Diana immediately pushed further. "It's not that Justin is bad. Why don't you match him with my sister instead? She's still single. Keep the good fortune in the family." "No." Mother shook her head hard. "You can take your sister's place at university, but Justin is absolutely not up for discussion. If the villagers find out, we'll be the laughingstock." Diana collapsed dramatically against the wall. "If you don't agree, I'll smash my head and die right now." Mother grabbed her, crying and pleading. "My darling, don't do this to your mother. I agree, okay? I agree." I stood outside the cracked door, watching their little performance. So that's how everything happened. That was the truth. In my previous life, I had liked Justin. Quietly, from afar. I never crossed the line. I never confessed, never acted on anything. When I heard Diana and Justin were dating, I swallowed the hurt and stayed silent. I avoided him. I never sought him out. Then one day, Justin came to find Diana, and somehow the entire village caught him and me in bed together. Later, I learned the truth. My dear sister and my loving mother had staged the entire scene. The guilt tortured me for years. I willingly gave my university spot to Diana. She became the college student Elena, and I, under her name Diana, married Justin. So they had coveted my future from the beginning. Fine, sister, keep the man. But the university? That is mine. 1 more month and I'll leave this village for Jing University. "Elena." I looked up. Justin stood near my house, tall and handsome, waving at me. Girls liked him, but all I could see was the man soaked in blood in my previous life, begging me to return him to my sister. "Elena, I'm calling you, can't you hear?" He strode over, grabbed my wrist, and dragged me toward the small grove. I yanked my hand away and spat at him in fury. "Justin, get help if you're sick. Don't drag me into your madness. Don't forget, you're my sister's boyfriend." He froze. His eyes narrowed as he studied my face. He could tell. The moment he said my name, I knew Justin had been reborn too. I hated how well I understood him, but he clearly didn't understand me the same way. He assumed he was the only one reborn. Excitement flashed in his eyes, because in this life, no one could stop him from being with Diana. When I turned to leave, he muttered, half threat, half promise, "Elena, call me a fool if you want. Say whatever. But listen, if you stop liking me, I don't like you at all. I only like your sister. If I marry you, I'll get sterilized. I'll never give you a child. We'll be a pair of resentful spouses for life." He knew exactly where to stab. In my last life, I never had a child. I visited hospitals over and over, tried folk remedies, lost 20 pounds in a month. Justin once held me and said children didn't matter. He'd spend a lifetime with just me. I believed him. I gave everything to him and his family, but he was the one who made it impossible. He blamed me. He blamed me after ruining me. People can be worse than you ever imagine. I kept walking until I reached my courtyard. When I closed the gate, my knees gave out. Why? If he didn't love me, why marry me? To use me, to control me, to wring every drop of value from me. And yet, in the end, he still pushed me out of the way and took the truck's blow. "Mom's calling you to cook." Diana came out, unconcerned with my shaking hands and swollen eyes. I stared at the girl who shared my face, 7 or 8 parts alike, but whose fate diverged so drastically. She had charm. I was quiet. Mother raised her delicate and spoiled. I was the dark, thin, practical shadow. "What are you staring at?" she snapped. I wiped my tears and said coldly, "First of all, I'm your elder sister. Call me properly. Second, cooking isn't my sole job. You can cook too." I shoved past her and walked inside. I had learned one thing. In my last life, I was too soft, too patient, too easy to trample. Not this time. In this life, I will be a firecracker. Whoever strikes me will be blown to pieces. "Elena, don't you think Mom is getting old? Just 2 days of housework and her back already hurts." I glanced at my mother without interest. Her back wasn't hurting. Her eyes just couldn't stand looking at me. I had been helping with chores since elementary school. By the time I grew up, I was the only one doing them. Now that I rested for 2 days, her face twisted every time she saw me. But Diana? Diana never lifted a finger, not even to pick up a fallen soy sauce bottle. Mother never complained about her. When I didn't answer, Mother slammed the kitchen knife onto the cutting board and jabbed her finger at my nose. "Elena, you just got into college and your wings are already stiff, huh? You don't want to help at home or in the fields? Are you trying to rebel? Maybe I should just let Diana go to college instead." Aha! There was her true face. Fine, time for my move. I burst out of the house, crying and wailing on purpose. "I don't want to live anymore. I struggled so hard to get into college, but now my own mother wants to give my spot to my sister. I'd rather die." "Elena, come back. Let's talk." Mother chased after me frantically. But quiet? No, not anymore. I ran through the entire village, making sure everyone heard how unfair she was. In my last life, I suffered because I swallowed everything. Not this time. Words? I was born for this battlefield. When the timing felt right, I slowed, heading toward the riverbank. Soon, Monica, a kind-hearted woman from the village, caught me in her arms. I buried my face in her chest and cried loudly, repeating how unfair Mother had been. Whenever Mother tried to pull me away, Monica blocked her firmly. And this time, the whole village saw the truth. The village head pushed through the crowd, his face dark with anger. He looked straight at my mother.
"Mary, is it true you said your younger daughter could take her sister's spot and go to college?" My mother opened her mouth to deny it, but I burst into an even louder, heartbreak-soaked cry. That was all it took. The villagers began scolding her and Diana together. My mother's face flushed bright red. Reputation mattered more to her than food or sleep, and now she'd lost it in front of the entire village. She stared at me helplessly, begging for rescue with her eyes. I lowered my head and cried even harder. Then she looked at Diana. But my dear sister, ever obsessed with her image, hid behind the crowd, refusing to meet her gaze. At last, my mother broke. I was only joking with Elena, she whispered. Joking? The village head snapped. You think this is a joke? Ever since your husband passed away, you've been behaving without sense. Let me say this clearly. If this substitution matter comes up again, it will be dealt with as a crime. I understand, my mother said quickly. Across the crowd, my eyes met my sister's. Her expression was twisted. Anger, humiliation, resentment all boiling together. Yes, this wasn't over. Anything that was mine and caught her eye, she always took. That night, something rare happened. My mother boiled 3 eggs. 1 for her, 1 for Diana, 1 for me. In the past, she always boiled only 2, 1 for each daughter, and I, foolish and soft, always handed mine to her thinking I was being filial. Turns out the solution was simple the whole time. Just boil 3. Before I could crack the shell, a voice floated in from outside. Diana, are you home? Justin. Diana shot me an arrogant smile, chin raised as if she owned the world, and strutted out. A dull ache tightened my chest. Withdrawal, I told myself. After all, I had been married to Justin for over 30 years in my past life. Even shattered glass sometimes holds a glimmer of light. Elena, don't be angry with your sister. You know her temper, my mother said, forcing a smile. There was a question I had buried for decades, one I finally dared to ask. Mom, I was only born 1 minute earlier. Does that 1 minute make me worth so much less to you? She blinked, then tears spilled instantly, pattering loudly to the floor. How am I unfair? Your father died early and I raised both of you alone. And now you blame me? Will you only be satisfied when I'm dead? In my past life, I would have fallen to my knees and apologized, begging her forgiveness. But now I knew the word for this. Q-U-A. Emotional manipulation. She saved her bright smiles for Diana and her tears for me, and she expected me to carry her emotional burden forever. I crossed my arms and watched silently. With no reaction from me, her tears dried up quickly, and she went to wash dishes. Diana came home glowing, holding a bag of pastries. Justin said he wants to see you, she said, annoyed that I didn't move. Justin's waiting outside. How can you be so rude? I stared at her calmly. You're not even married to Justin, and even if you were, tell me, which law says I must see my brother-in-law whenever he demands it? Her smile cracked. Diana, furious, grabbed my arm and dragged me outside before I could react. Justin, my sister bullied me, Diana cried theatrically. Justin immediately wrapped an arm around her, comforting her gently, but when he turned toward me, his expression hardened into righteous judgment. Elena, as the elder sister, can't you stop bullying your younger sister? I hid the red mark on my wrist, the one Diana left while dragging me, and swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat. When I raised my head again, my face was cold. Cold like armor. Cold like dignity. Our family matters have nothing to do with an outsider like you, I said evenly. Justin's eyes flew wide. Elena, how can you be such a vile person? You bully your sister, and when I reason with you, you're still proud of it? Yes, I'm vile, I replied calmly, and you're noble, so I, the vile one, will leave to make space for your noble souls. I turned to go. Justin grabbed my wrist. Pain shot up my arm and I hissed. He instantly let go, face filling with worry. "What happened to your hand?" "What's it to you?" I snapped. "Say what you came to say." His gaze dropped to my wrist. He knew. He knew Diana had hurt me moments ago. But Diana leaned into him and cooed sweetly, and I watched regret from their past life flicker through Justin's eyes. Finally, he looked at me again, his voice hesitant. "Elena, you have good grades. Let Diana take your college spot this year. You can retake the exam next year. Is that okay?" Something inside my chest cracked open. A foolish part of me still hoped, still believed he might stand on my side even a little. Smack. I slapped myself across the face, severing the last pathetic thread of attachment. Justin stared, stunned. "Justin," I said softly, steady as a blade. "Justin, you also got into university. Why don't you give your spot to my sister instead? Why is it always me the two of you pick on?" His face drained of blood. "Sis, Justin's a man," Diana sneered. "How could I replace a man at university?" "What does that have to do with me?" I said coldly. Then I looked them both straight in the eye. "Justin, don't come to me again. I can't help my sister. You two," I paused, letting the words land. "I wish you a lifetime together, grow old side by side, and have children soon." Justin staggered backward as if my blessing were a curse. The next half-month, my mother grew usually quiet. Every time she looked at me, she wanted to speak, then swallowed it back. I ignored her. Diana, on the other hand, made sure to mention Justin daily, how wonderful he was, how much he adored her. I treated her babbling like the wind and waited. 7 days left. 7 days until I could finally leave this house, this family, this village. "Elena, are you even listening?" Diana shoved me. "You still haven't told me where your admission letter is." I rubbed my ear lazily. "So what if you know where it is? And I already told you if you want to trade your college spot with me for Justin, I refuse." Diana froze. She hadn't expected me to be so blunt. "You refuse? What right do you have to refuse? Don't you like Justin?" My face turned ice cold. When did I ever say that I liked him? If I hear that rumor outside, I will tear your mouth apart. "Elena, that's enough," my mother snapped, stepping outside. I watched the two of them whispering together, plotting. Of course, they never stopped. But it didn't matter. I only needed to survive 7 more days. Or so I believed, because that afternoon, while I was home alone, Justin walked into the yard. I tightened my grip on a wooden stick, standing by the gate, ready to bolt if necessary. He had changed. The gentle sunshine boy was gone. In his place stood a man dark, brooding, dangerous. "Don't run," he said quietly. "I just want to talk." "You can talk from there," I warned. "Come any closer and this stick won't recognize you." He punched the wall, dust raining down. His voice cracked. "Diana said you enjoy bullying her. She said she actually got good grades and intentionally scored lower so you wouldn't feel inferior. She said you like me, that you're trying to steal him from her." His voice lowered. "I believed her. I thought you were manipulative, that you broke us up on purpose. But then, why?" He looked up at me, searching for answers. Half my face was hidden behind the door, his cold, unreadable. And at last, he understood. He wasn't the only one who had been reborn, but he believed he was.
He believed he finally saw the truth. And maybe he did. Justin stepped closer, voice trembling. "Elena, you're the only one who was ever good to me." I raised the stick and swung it straight at his head.
Get out." He froze. "If you take one more step," I said sharply, "I'll scream molester. One word from me and your entire future will be over." "Don't scream." "I'll go," Justin said, ducking as he clutched his head, choosing his future over pride. Just then, Diana burst from the shadows, her voice shrill. "How could you drive Justin away from me?" I stared at her coldly, then at my mother, who remained silently behind her. I couldn't stay in this house another second. With Diana's twisted schemes and manipulative mind, who knew what she might do next? I had to leave immediately. My plan was simple. Go to town, find my second uncle, the one person who had always truly cared for me, far more than my mother ever did. He was my father's younger brother, and my father had loved him like a twin. Before my father died, he had worked himself to exhaustion to send my uncle to school. After my father passed, my uncle sent my mother money and ration tickets every month. Everyone claimed my mother had raised me, but we both knew the truth. It was my uncle who had truly supported me all along. My mother had lived off others, first my father, then my uncle, and spent her days sighing and complaining while I did all the housework. In my past life, when my uncle tried to persuade me not to give up my university spot for Diana, I had lashed out cruelly. Blinded by my feelings for Justin, I had said words that hurt him deeply. This time, however, I had hidden my admission letter and all my important documents at my uncle's house. I would leave no matter what. I moved to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked from the outside with a heavy iron padlock. Diana's voice sneered through the cracks. "Elena, hand over your admission letter. If you don't even think about stepping out." "Why would I give it to you if I can't open the door?" I shouted. She laughed, wild and triumphant. "So there's no admission letter, huh? Then fine. If I can't go to college, neither will you." I had been trapped in that pitch-dark room for 4 days. The university registration date loomed closer with every hour, and I paced back and forth like a caged animal, nerves stretched taut. "Elena, Mom," I banged on the door, desperate. "Please, let me out. I'll go to college. I won't ask for tuition. I won't spend a penny of the family's money. I'll even earn and send money back." My mother hesitated. "But, Diana..." A glimmer of hope flickered in me. I coaxed her gently. "Mom, Diana is my sister. We don't hold grudges that last overnight. If I do well in life, I'll help her too. I've never begged you for anything before. Just this once. Please help me." There was silence. Just as despair threatened to consume me completely, I heard the faint click of a key turning in the lock. Then Diana's cold, sharp voice pierced the quiet. "Elena, if you let Diana go to college, I'll kill myself right here. You choose, me or her." The key turn stopped. Seconds stretched into an eternity. Finally, my mother's voice cracked through. "Elena, just listen to your sister." "Of course," I murmured, my voice tight with exhaustion. "Mom, why can't you ever stand by me for once?" "Heh, what makes you think you can compare with me?" I glared back. "You think you can lock me up forever? I'll go to college someday. This house cannot hold me prisoner. Even not this year. I will next year or the year after. Someday I will." "You'll never go to college," she spat. I froze. Her words stretched slowly, cruelly, savoring my dread. "Mom and I found you a husband, Oliver, from the village. You know him, right? The lazy drunk who beats women. His last wife ran away after he nearly killed her. Tisk, tisk, Elena. You refused Justin, but now you'll marry Oliver. Are you happy?" "Mom, is this true?" I'd given up on both Diana and Justin, yet the tiny spark of hope remained for my mother.
Elena, maybe Oliver isn't as bad as they say. I laughed, hard, bitterly, until my stomach ached. The cruelest joke I've ever heard, I whispered, from my own mother. If Oliver isn't that bad, why don't you marry him? Why don't you, Diana? I stood, voice sharp. I'm telling you both, I won't marry anyone. I'd rather die than marry him. Diana's mouth opened, stunned. You, my mother stammered. Diana pulled her away. That night, Justin's voice drifted outside my door. Elena, I heard what happened. Why don't you marry me instead? You can still give your college spot to Diana. I fought it through. You're smart. You can take the exam again next year. I lifted my head from my knees, exhaustion thick in my voice. Justin, do you really think you're some kind of hero, sacrificing yourself for your so-called great love with Diana? To me, you're nothing but a selfish hypocrite. I don't like you, and I don't want to marry you. In that moment, I realized, truly, my heart felt nothing for him anymore. In my past life, I had wasted myself on a crooked, twisted tree like Justin. Justin protested, disbelief in his voice. That's impossible. How could you not like me? You copied my notebooks by hand, reviewed my weakest subjects, wrote over 10 study journals for me. How could that not be love? I bit my lip. So yes, I had loved him once, but the bitterness of my past life had long erased it all. If you ever felt even a flicker of gratitude for what I did once, let me go. No, if you leave, you'll never come back. Wait for me. I'll break up with Diana tomorrow and marry you. I sank to the floor, eyes drifting to the matchbox and kerosene lamp beside me. There's a fire, a villager shouted. My mother grabbed someone in panic. Whose house is on fire? Mary, what are you still doing out here? It's your house. By the time my mother rushed home, half the house was charred black, and Elena was nowhere to be found. She clutched Justin's arm, trembling. Where's my Elena? Is she safe? Justin shoved her away, eyes burning with anger. She's gone. She's never coming back. He blamed my mother. He knew that if she hadn't pushed me so harshly, I wouldn't have run away. My mother collapsed, dazed. For a brief, fleeting moment, I think she felt the faint echo of a mother's love. But it was too late. Justin was among the first to arrive, wanting to rush into the flames, but my second uncle was faster. He covered himself with a soaked quilt and charged into the burning room. When I came to, I threw myself into my uncle's arms and cried. This time, my tears were mine, unburdened by fear or guilt. I hadn't meant it to go this far. I only intended to break the door to escape, but the fire spread faster than I imagined. Thick smoke had already made me faint. By pure chance, my uncle had guessed I might be home, and he saved my life. The villagers finally arrived, putting out the fire before it destroyed everything. As my uncle prepared to take me away, Justin ran after us, desperate in his eyes. Elena, please, can we talk? I agreed, standing with the calm, distant gaze of a stranger. Go ahead. Don't look at me like that, Justin said, reaching towards my eyes, voice thick with emotion. If you have nothing to say, I'm leaving. Don't go, Elena. When I saw you in the fire, I realized I love you. Can you... No, I can't, I interrupted, firm. Respecting his gesture, I added, what I felt before was real, but what I feel now, that's real. As for everything from our previous life, let it stay in that dream. That's enough. Behind us, Justin's cries echoed, my name repeating, drowned by grief. But my uncle and I didn't look back. You're still laughing. Do you realize you almost died? My uncle tapped my forehead, half angry, half worried. I'm sorry, Uncle, I admitted obediently. In my past life, I had been trapped in that village by Justin and my mother, forced into servitude, working as their laborer, caring for elders, living as a workhorse. But in this life, I had finally escaped. I stretched my arms wide, feeling the taste of freedom in the open air. From now on, the sky and sea were boundless. No one could trap me again. "You really are something," my uncle muttered, anger softening as he took in my soot-blackened face and singed hair. His heart ached, blaming my mother for driving such a good child to this point. I grinned. "That's why Aunt says my temper is just like yours." "Oh, so you're looking for a beating?" He raised his hand, smiling. When we arrived at his house, I froze at the spotless, warm living room. It seemed too welcoming, too safe, a place I almost didn't dare to enter. "What's wrong? Waiting for an invitation?" my aunt asked, gently, smiling. I hesitated. She came closer, pulling me inside with a warm hand. And for the first time in decades, I felt at home. That day at my uncle's house was the first truly happy day I had experienced since being reborn. That night, I woke to the muffled voices of my aunt and uncle talking softly in the next room. My aunt's voice trembled, heavy with unshed tears. "You've been helping your brother's family for years, and I never said a word. But look at Elena today. She's skin and bones. How could your sister-in-law raise her like that?" "Enough," my uncle said quietly. "Don't let the child hear you." "No, I won't stop. Elena is going to college. You have to move part of the money and ration coupons you send to your brother's family over to her. Otherwise, I won't let it go." I know, he replied with a sigh. How did I end up marrying such a good woman? I clamped my hands over my mouth, stifling my sobs. My uncle's life had never been easy. Even my cousins had chosen to live at school to save money. They were such good people. How could I possibly add to their troubles? "Elena, come eat," my aunt called, but there was no answer. She pushed the door open. My room was empty. On the table lay a letter and an IOU I had left behind. Tuition was free in 1977, but living costs weren't. I had quietly taken 20 yuan from the envelope my uncle had given me the night before and left before dawn. University life was harsh but fulfilling. I lived on steamed buns, one meal after another. I imagined working part-time to support myself, but reality was crueler than I had expected. My major was foreign languages, a subject I had never studied before. Rebirth had given me no advantage here. My classmates were tireless, waking early, sleeping late, studying harder than anyone else. In that environment, working for money was impossible. Even in my dreams, I recited vocabulary words. After 3 months, my 20 yuan was gone. I went from 3 buns a day to 1, then none, only water. My body eventually gave out, and I fainted in class. When I awoke, my classmates surrounded me. Some offered to take notes, others suggested tutoring jobs. Not one looked down on me for being poor. For the first time, I understood true friendship and camaraderie. They competed fiercely, pushed each other to encourage progress, not out of jealousy, but shared ambition. The professor of my core subject handed me an envelope. "Consider this a loan. Pay me back when you can. If you refuse, you cannot remain in my class. My students follow my rules." I accepted, recording every gesture of kindness in my notebook, a promise to repay it one day, in any way I could. I studied harder, tirelessly, to honor their trust and live up to myself. 3 months later, my uncle arrived in Beijing, covered in dust, looking as though he might scold me on the spot. It turned out the money he had been sending was repeatedly returned due to the wrong address. He had taken leave just to find me. After I promised to eat properly, accept his support, and begged with enough tears, he finally forgave me. From his visit, I learned that after I left, he had cut the money he sent to my mother in half. Diana and my mother had come to his door several times, making scenes, until my aunt threatened them. "Cause trouble again, and you'll get nothing." Only then did they leave, humiliated. My uncle also told me my mother had asked about me secretly a few times, though he never revealed where I was. He said she looked older now, half her hair white, her face drawn and tired.
He saw the hardening in my expression and didn't try to persuade me to forgive her. He knew too well what I had endured to escape that house. The day he left Beijing, I watched his figure fade into the distance. For the first time, my blurred memories of my father took shape in the silhouette of my uncle walking away. The 4 years of university passed quickly, a constant blur of competition, ambition, and growth. Shadows of my past life faded with each passing day. I regained vitality, flesh, and spirit, transforming into someone entirely new, confident, bright, and full of life. During that time, I kept in touch only with my uncle and aunt. My mother and family back home, I never contacted them again. Justin, however, kept trying to find me. I never saw him. Eventually, he sent students from other departments with letters, food, and even money, but I returned everything. My classmates noticed my distress and helped block him. His persistence eventually failed. My mother came twice to the university. Though she was not yet 50, she looked older than she had in her 60s in my past life. Then, as in my past life, she had to do everything herself. Diana was useless. Both visits were dismissed quickly. The second time, I said, "Don't come looking for me again. When you reach legal retirement age, I'll send you a monthly allowance at the government's minimum standard. From then on, our bond as mother and daughter is over. I've taken care of you my whole life and received nothing but blame. I've repaid every debt between us." She left, trembling, and from that day, we never contacted each other again. After graduation, thanks to my excellent academic record and professors' recommendations, I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Work grew busier by the month. I sent my entire salary to my uncle and aunt. When they tried to refuse, I sent it again and again until they had no choice but to accept. I never dated. Admirable suitors were plentiful, but none stirred anything in me. Men, love, marriage, none of it mattered anymore. My uncle and aunt initially tried to persuade me, but seeing my contentment, they stopped. After they retired, I brought them to live with me in Beijing, under the pretense of helping them relax and see the city. They attempted to return the money I had sent over the years, nearly 30,000 yuan. I paused, then accepted it, pooling another 20,000 with friends to buy them a courtyard house in the heart of the city. They complained it was extravagant, but their joy said otherwise. My uncle's new hobby became visiting parks and chatting with old Beijingers. My aunt started a small business, embracing her second spring. When she first told me her plan, she glanced nervously at me. I smiled. "As long as you're happy, I'll always be your strongest supporter." I never forgot the warmth of her hug that day, the same arms that once pulled me into her home when I feared dirtying her floors. Later, when my cousins grew up and began working, I encouraged them to move to Beijing, both for better opportunities and selfishly to keep my family close. My guidance carried weight, and my cousins respected my decisions. They came to build their futures and in the process called me their real older sister. You reap what you sow. I was the fruit of my uncle and aunt's kindness, and in this life I finally felt complete. "Aunt Mary, are you home?" Mary sat in front of the television as always, waiting, watching, unsure when my Elena might appear on the screen. Leaning on her cane, she shuffled slowly towards the courtyard gate. Abigail, a young visitor, looked at the old, crumbling house and shook her head. This woman had favored her younger daughter when they were young, driving away the capable elder one. The younger daughter married a college student from the same village, while the elder left and never returned. Now, in her old age, she longed for the daughter she had once cast aside. She stayed alone in the decaying home, hoping her eldest would one day return to find it intact. Abigail knew who that daughter was, the brilliant woman she often saw on television speaking with calm authority on behalf of the nation. Well, she thought, pitiable people often have only themselves to blame. Aunt Abigail handed Mary an envelope softly. "This is the living allowance Elena sent you for this month." Mary accepted it carefully, tucking it into the pocket of her chest, the only fragile thread left connecting her to her daughter. Ever since turning 60, Elena had kept her promise, sending money every month as she had vowed. Abigail added gently. That room that burned down 20 years ago, it's still half ruined. Maybe you should use some of this to repair it. Yes, yes, Mary murmured vaguely. Abigail sighed. No matter what she said, Mary always replied yes. Whether she actually did anything, that's a different story. Not long after Abigail left, the rickety door burst open with a deafening bang. Diana stormed in, her voice sharp and wild. You old hag, Elena sent you money again, didn't she? Hand it over. Mary sat frozen, mumbling over and over, sins, it's all sins. Diana ignored her, finally snatching the envelope and strutting out, satisfied with her victory. Outside, she spent the money lavishly with her lover before swaggering back.